Morning, good morning. How's everyone? Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. As people continue to come in, um, I'd like to welcome everyone. Give me a few moments. I'd like for you all to introduce yourself and how'd you hear about us and where you're from, and a little of your background before everyone gets in. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Okay. I'm getting ready to stream this on Facebook. So give me 1 second. Mhm. Okay, give me 1 second. And here we go. Welcome everyone to GPI. Thank you all for joining me. While we're waiting on others to join us, can you please introduce yourself? Give us a little of your background, where are you from, and how'd you hear about us? So we're going to start with Miss Gregory.
Good morning, Ms. Pat. My name is DeWine Gregory. I am from Brooklyn, New York, but I reside here in Atlanta, Georgia metro area. I am working in the logistics field. This is probably my 33rd year in logistics, and I'm also a real estate entrepreneur.
Okay. And how'd you hear about us?
The Atlanta Black Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. Great. Welcome.
Thank you.
Uh, Miss Fields, please introduce yourself. Jennifer?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Fields, and I'm joined here with my husband, Rodney Fields. And together we have started a professional services company. And we found out about GPI yesterday, actually, at the SBDC Morehouse event.
Okay.
And we were just so impressed with you. So thank you for taking time to talk to us and encourage us. And we're happy to be here.
All right. Well, welcome. And what's your husband? What's your background though? Real estate, you said, and home?
Oh, Rodney.
Yes,
Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me unmute. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hello everyone. My name is Rodney Fields. That's my wife Jennifer. My background, I am Army veteran, 20 years. I retired in May of 2025. So just get my feet wet. Like you said, we have a business in personal service. And we're trying to go the government contracting route. And you inspired us yesterday with your
That's what the fuck it is.
knowledge
All right.
and
So in the
everything.
center,
Yes, okay. Yes. Well, thank you for your service. We definitely appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. We got quite a crowd in here. Lovey B, introduce yourself. How'd you hear about us? Where are you from? And what's your background?
Hi, love. Wealthy rising to everybody. I am Lovey B. I'm originally from Ohio. I graduated from the Ohio State. I am currently in Marietta, Georgia. I have a doctoral degree as a metaphysical science, so I currently operate as a neuro and somatic practitioner in my office, and my background is in health and wellness.
Okay.
Met you yesterday
All
at
right.
the Summit at Morehouse,
Yeah.
Federal Contracting Summit at Morehouse. So I'm here today and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Okay, well, welcome, 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 everyone. Um, it's important that we talk to each other, understand each other's backgrounds, because when I look at the number of people that are currently online or at this webinar, that's a contract. And for me, it's about collaboration and partnership. We'll go into more depth about that as I go through the presentation. Um, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I have a whole lot to cover today. So make sure you have a notepad. We will be recording as well. So please put your information and email address in the chat so we can make sure you get a copy of the recording. All right? We're ready to go, everybody? We're getting ready to have a little, we're getting ready to have a little church right here this morning. All right, so I want participation. This is just not sit and listen. I want to make sure you are capturing all the information. Let me make sure folks are muted. All right. Again, we are GPI, and our logo or our motto is we love creating millionaires. I'm have to change that because we do have one of our students who came through our program who won a $1 billion contract last year. My whole goal and whole purpose is that we begin to understand how to build generational wealth, federal procurement. I will say right now and prayerfully in the next year that we all become engaged. Because in my experience in doing this for the last 40, 30 years, I've never seen the types of opportunities or the government issuing or the president issuing an executive order requiring that these agencies specifically increase their contract award to Black-owned businesses. And they have really, really helped our community as it relates to the money and access to capital, as well as increasing the amount of awards that are coming into the Black and Brown communities. I always like to start out and make sure that people, when you're getting into this business and in the life of entrepreneurship, is understanding what is your why. And my why is my father. My father was one of the first Black police officers in my hometown of Asheville, North Carolina. He ended up having to sue the city for discrimination. After the lawsuit, he won. He then retired and ran for city council and saw that there was land by the projects, and he felt
Hey, how you doing? Good morning.
I need people to mute. Yes, he as a city councilman, he identified some land by the projects, and he felt like the kids needed a park, and he was able to get it funded. So now we have a park in Asheville. So for me and for all of us, we stand on a lot of people's shoulders, and I'm with Madam President because we're not going back. And the way that they're trying to play this game, we can no longer afford not to get into the game, not to understand the game. And for me, it's a mission. This is how we truly, truly create generational wealth through government contracts. I always like to open up on my background and who I am, how did I end up in this space. Originally, again, I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. After college, I went to Washington, D.C., and my first job was with a company that was a part of the 8A program. By show of hands, how many of you heard of the 8A program? If not, we're going to go into a lot more depth about that program and how it's there to support small businesses and minority-owned businesses. Um, I ended up working for a company that had a contract that was in that program. And I'm very strategic. Every 6 years, every 3 years, the contract went to a new 8A company. I ended up going through 6 8A companies before I started my first business in 1996. The first year in business, I received my first $1 million contract. Second year, I applied into the 8A program, received another $3 million contract, and quickly grew the business to almost $15 million in contracts with 40 employees. And I had 2 business partners. Getting the contracts wasn't that hard for me. My challenge was I went from a project manager to running a multi-million-dollar company and not having a clue about the business side of it. I had a business partner who felt like he could run all his personal expenses through the company. The last straw for me was a $3,000 custom-made pinstripe suit. And I'm looking at him like, you have lost your mind. I had my assistant to do an audit on his credit card. He takes her,
It's your world.
he, please mute your phone. I'm a computer. He um he takes her in the elevator, threatens her. I then terminate him. He then conspired with 2 employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. 2 years of attorney fees, $125,000 of attorney fees, $100,000 to buy him out. I had no more operating cash, so I had to transfer $7 million of my contracts to another 8A firm and close the business. And that really pushed me to my passion because I realized no one was training our community on how to run and manage a business on that level. So I'm, as I said, very strategic. I position myself as a SCORE counselor, which is a resource partner of SBA, and created government workshops under their umbrella after I closed the business. Ran out of money 2 years later, applied for a position at SBA. I was hired in the Philadelphia district office. That is the office that actually processed the 8A applications. And I was able to get insight on some of their processes and procedures and why they were declining applications and what were the challenges businesses were having even applying into that program. However, my job was to service the businesses that were admitted into the program. After 4 years in Philadelphia, I relocated here to Atlanta. And while I was in this district office, they required that we become certified as a contract specialist. And for me, that was the missing piece, meaning I'd run a business for 10 years. I had worked at SBA for 7 years, but I wasn't quite sure what steps the agencies took to actually put that solicitation out for you to compete on. So by becoming certified as a contract specialist, that gave me that insight and made it full circle for me. I've trained more than 10,000 businesses on marketing to the federal government, and I've assisted small businesses to win over 1.5 billion in contracts across various industries. I've self-published a book titled That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy and Run. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, but it sort of documents the lawsuit and all the challenges and things that occurred while I was in that first business. People want to get to the mountaintop, but you have to understand what comes at the mountaintop. So for me, it was therapeutic, but it was also hopefully helping others not go through some of the things that I went through in that first business. So, what are the challenges for small businesses entering in this space? Having done many workshops at SBA, what I realized the process is people will come people will come to SBA looking to become a federal contractor. We would host workshops, tell you the basic steps. You leave excited. It's great information. We also would recommend you to go to the resource partners. And for me, I was studying all of this on the inside. And what I realized is that people go to all these resource partners, and even my job as a business opportunity specialist was driven by numbers. If I went out and talked to 2,000 people, I got credit for talking to 2,000 people. And nobody was really teaching businesses the process. The same thing with the government agencies. Many of them do not understand SBA's rules and regulations. And I will consistently say, unless you've worked on the inside of SBA, no one understands their operations. They don't understand their rules. So that adds a lot of confusion for businesses entering into this space. What are the challenges and the barriers? Understanding the government language. So often the government will host these events and they're speaking in acronyms and a whole different language, and they're assuming everyone else understands what they're talking about. Same thing about the processes. No one understands the processes. What are the steps? Once you understand what programs you're eligible for, what type of documents will SBA look for when you're trying to apply into these programs? And also understanding that these websites are not connected. The database that you register to do business with the government is managed by the General Service Administration. But you also have to register in SBA's database. Previously, they were connected. I don't know what happened. They're no longer connected. So you have to actually register in both databases to be recognized as a small business. Based on all of this journey, was my primary purpose of creating this program. And this program was based on what I wish someone would have told me in my first business and what I saw happening to the businesses I was servicing at SBA, all based on lessons learned. And in my first business, my first lesson learned was not to limit your business. What I realized working as a SCORE counselor and working with a lot of SBA's resource partners, so often they will tell you to stay in your skill set, stay in your lane. If you look at the education system, it's all designed for us to be laborers. And for me, once I received that $1 million contract, I was no longer doing events. I had to learn to manage a business. I had to expand my business services to grow my businesses so it wasn't based on my event planning skills. And that was told by one of my mentors. And when he said that to me, he told me I was pigeonholing myself. And when he said it, made sense. as I looked at the companies that I'd gone through and looked at their business model. So I created divisions. I had an event planning division, I had an IT division, I had a communication division, I had a database division. And once I created those divisions, I was able to get contracts in those areas. And what I find as we train everyone is that it's hard for people to change their mindset. It's hard for you to understand as a CEO, it's not my job to know how to do that contract. My job is to make sure I have the right subject matter experts that are qualified to do the job. That's who I am submitting as part of my bid, and that's how I'm making my money as a CEO. When I look at business, I like to look at it as my father, he wanted me to play sports. And so when I look at business and playing basketball, it's the same analogy to me. But we want to push our kids to become LeBron or Stefan. And I'm asking the question, if LeBron and Stefan is making 200 million, how much is the owner making? And does the owner need to know anything about basketball? Absolutely not. What is the role of the owner? Someone. This can be interactive. Unmute yourself and answer the question, please. What's the role of the NBA owner? Someone.
To manage the team.
No, he's not managing the team. He got a general manager to do that.
The team.
He's
Get the
providing an
people to
environment
manage the team.
To what?
that allows the
That's the
players
right
to thrive.
His goal every year is to get a dream team. Bring him the gold. That's how he's making his money. And that's your role as the business owner, is to create a dream team that's not necessarily based on your skill set. If you are working in your business, you cannot grow your business. It won't work. So in our first module of the program, we help you create a business model that's going to be sustainable. In the second module, we emphasize the importance of collaborating. Collaboration is key in this space. SBA's programs and these contracts are designed for us to work together, but no one has taught us how to work together. So in our second module of Government Ready, we are putting you into teams, and at that point, we're the government. It's real world. You need to understand if somebody on your team is not fulfilling the requirements, what do? A bid still needs to go in. So you need to understand how to manage that process as a business owner. Third, you must have infrastructure. What do I mean by infrastructure, someone? Anyone?
Your processes set in place?
Foundation.
Those are broad words. Give me specific.
Structure. Like the right computers, the right devices, the right
Accountants, attorneys. You heard I got sued. Soon as you receive, have a W-2 employee, you need to have employment practice liability insurance. Can someone write that in the chat? Employment practice liability insurance. Also, please make sure you include your information in the chat, because that's part of collaboration that I'm going to share with you at the end of this presentation. Must have the infrastructure. Understand your business. Everyone wants to get to the contract, but you get to the contract, if you don't have the infrastructure to support the contract, you've defeated the purpose. So I'm more focused on you understanding and getting the foundational piece. Understand your business. So when you look at the federal government operates on a fiscal year. Their fiscal year starts October 1st and ends September. And what generally happens while they are on that fiscal year, the government will operate on a continuing resolution. You're already hearing that they're talking about the other side is not trying to. The other side is not trying to pass the budget. So while they're bickering and determining what they're trying to get out of that budget, the agencies will operate on a continuing resolution, meaning they have limited funding. So for you as a small business, there's a peak time and a downtime for you to market to the government. The peak time to market to the government is generally from October to February or March, because that's generally by the time they go through Congress and get all of that squared away is when they actually start receiving their funding. So from February, March to September, they're trying to get rid of a whole lot of money. Right now, this is the end of the year, and so they got crazy stuff that they're just trying to get rid of. It's the end of the year. So it's you during the downtime while they don't have their funding is now participating in their events, setting up appointments, meeting with the buyers, getting your name familiarized within those agencies. Why federal contracts? Every year, the government, SBA, sets goals for each of these agencies. 23% of contracts are set aside just for small businesses, 5% for women-owned, 5% for small disadvantaged businesses, 5% for service disabled, and 3% for hub zone firms. So what does that mean for you? The more certifications you have, you're helping those agencies achieve their goals. As an example, if you were awarded a contract for $100,000 and you're just a small business, that agency now gets credit of $100,000 towards their goals. So let's say you're a small business and woman-owned. Now that agency gets $200,000 credit towards their goals. So the more certifications you have, you're helping those agencies achieve their goals. And what happens is SBA monitors what awards went into their programs and provide a grade. To me, this is a strategy. Looking at those agencies that may not hit their women-owned goals. Or if I'm small disadvantaged business, targeting those agencies, understanding that this amount is now 15% that the president is trying to get awarded to this community. And you can see over here, it's a lot of money out here, just as the small businesses without the certification. My goal is you understand how to compete first as a small business. And the certifications are, by the way, I have these certifications as a contracting vehicle to award me a contract. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, it does.
What I realized when I left DC and went to Pennsylvania, and when I came here to Atlanta, was that people outside of the DMV area had no clue about these programs, just based on the number of businesses that are registered in the SBA's program. This is their database. So you can see in DMV, well, just in Virginia and Maryland, it's almost 1,600 companies that are part of the 8A program. When I look at the surrounding states of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, I refuse to believe that there are no more than 46 Black-owned businesses in South Carolina. The same thing in North Carolina. It's only 73. In New York, it's even worse. In the state of New York, there's only 72 businesses in the 8A program. Something is wrong here, especially since this program was designed to help minority-owned businesses. When you look here at the state of Georgia, it's a little better, but again, I refuse to believe that there's no more than 208 businesses that can qualify into this program. And so what I was finding from the inside out was that businesses from the DMV area were coming here to win contracts because there was no competition. What federal agencies are here, someone? What federal agencies are located here?
CDC.
That's one.
Military.
There's 5 military bases here. Wherever there's a military base, there's a federal contract. Wherever there's a federal courthouse, there's a contract. So no matter what at the top and trying to get this money to us, we have to be prepared, and we're not prepared. And we're not prepared based on this pie chart here. I did an analysis of this in March of what was really happening around contract awards. When you look at these contract awards nationally, and this was it started in October and went through May. These are the numbers that were awarded for just total small businesses nationally. And then I drilled down to see, well, what awards were just given to small businesses in the state of Georgia. You can see that dollar amount. And then I drilled down to the small businesses that were awarded contracts that were Black-owned. So this was that pot of money. And then I looked specifically at the 8A program to see what dollars were coming in that, and based on those Black-owned companies that were a part of the 8A program, how much of the pie are they getting? So when you all look at this pie, what do you all see? Does anybody see anything? What do you all see?
Less than 1%, which is like
Disproportionate.
Something is wrong. Something is wrong. We're not getting a piece of the pie. And this pie is something that can change our generations. And just to prove my point, I drilled down so that you could see what agencies were awarding these contracts and what states were they coming from in awarding these contracts. That's how I came up with this dollar value. And I'm so happy that one of our students who started with me at SBA and then went through the program after I left SBA, she won first 2 years ago a $45 million contract managing USDA's assets. Last year, she won a $1 billion contract managing all of their foreclosed properties, all of the assets management, the titling, the whole circle. So I am so proud of her that she kept her eyes on the prize and didn't give up. And she also now was able to purchase a building. Again, generational wealth. And that was one of the regrets I had in that first business. When I was at my peak, I should have purchased a business with SBA's loan program. Now I have those contracts because in those contracts, they're reimbursing me for my office space and rent, my overhead costs. Now I'm feeding myself. That makes sense to me. What you will often hear is, again, when you're getting into this space, start locally. You're not prepared to compete on the federal side. I completely disagree with that because on the federal side, the competition isn't as high. You're only competing with maybe 2 or 3 people nationally. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself to that area. I can be here in Georgia and win a contract in California. You don't have to limit your opportunities. If you look at state and local contracts, you're competing with all individuals within that area. So being in business is about limiting your competition and where am I going to succeed quickly. And for me, not that I don't want the state and local dollars, because that's still my tax dollars. But what I tell businesses, start at the top and then come down, because now you've gained the past performance, you begin to set up your infrastructure. Now you're able to effectively compete with state and local contractors, because a lot of the things they do at the state and local bidding or procurement process, they have to follow the federal regulations because they're getting federal dollars. So for me, it's let's start at the top and then come down. And the government have buys that are specifically for small businesses that are RFQs. Those are requests for quotes, and those are the buys that are 250,000 and below. That's how you begin to jump in and start getting your feet wet on a smaller scale. But for us, and for me, you keep getting a couple of 250,000 contract awards, that's $1 million contract. So it's all about strategy to me. As an example, I found this last night. This is an opportunity that's from my old employer. They're looking for marketing materials for this specific office. It came out on the 12th. It's due on the 20th. This is the industry code. You can see it's set aside specifically for small businesses. And when you look at what they're looking for, do I need to be in the banner business, anybody?
No.
No.
What would you do based on the scope for work?
Find
somebody that does it.
And meet that deadline.
And subcontract. They're giving you the shipping address. I don't have to know any of this. They're going to provide the artwork, and I'm just the middleman on this. So I'm going to put my cost on top of my vendor's cost. I am managing the project. Same thing.
Quick question. What would be the percentage you would add on to the subcontract, being a subcontract?
For those types of buys, because you still want to count your time in. You still got to manage. You still have looked up and screened these vendors. So maybe add a salary now to yourself for your time. Maybe that's 10 hours of work. And then put my profit on top of that. So maybe 15 to 25%. On some of these buys, I've seen businesses go as high as 35%. But what you see here is the lowest price technically acceptable. So they don't want you to lowball this and not be able to perform. And there's databases where you can go and look up previous awards or how much based on this industry have these types of buys cost. So you're going to find 3 vendors and come up with the best price. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So now again, this is California, they want it shipped to, and here they want some shipped to the Georgia address. This is how I'm helping you to get out of your comfort zone and understand your role as a CEO. The other part of this is HUD. Forecast. Every agency will have a forecast where they're going to identify what they anticipate spending for that fiscal year. I like HUD because HUD updates their forecasts every month. And they've already posted some opportunities that's going to come out in 2025. And so for you, instead of you reacting, you're reacting on those bids at sam.gov. Here, you're preparing it before it comes out and on sam.gov. And this is a list of the opportunities. They're telling you if it's a new requirement, recompete, meaning someone currently has that contract. They're giving you the industry code that they're looking to award it under, what type of competition, the anticipated dollar of value, the point of contact. Again, being in business, right? All you need is a point of contact and begin to build those relationships. So it looks like Adam Hester, he's managing a lot of projects. They're telling you when they anticipate releasing it, when it's going to be awarded, and how long the contract will be. When they talk about base, that means it's 1 year. When they talk about base plus 3 option years, that means 1 plus 3 option years with a total of 4 years. And again, all of this is new, so I'm not competing with anybody. And I have time because they're telling me it's not going to be released to November 24th, to maybe reach out to Jacob and ask him a little bit more details before it's posted. Once it's posted, they can't talk to you, right? Here they're looking at conference support. This is what I call the low-hanging fruit. And this is something that will be awarded for next year. But in the end, you're building up those relationships. Am I making sense to the church this morning?
Amen. Ma'am.
Okay.
You making
Man.
you making sense to the mosque too. I have a question.
Okay.
All right, I have a question. So my question is, of course, you always drop mega gems. So with this strategy though, how are you framing your capability statement if you're going through multiple opportunities that look different as the middleman? That's the first question. The second question.
Hold on, we're gonna cover all of that. That's all.
Okay.
Slow down. We there. Church gonna cover you.
Okay, all right.
All right. So, how do you play in this game? You can self-certify in SAM. SAM is Systems for Awards Management. I keep saying it's such a mess. That's your first test of being a contractor, getting your business registered in SAM, where you can self-certify as a small disadvantaged business. However, a lot of agencies do not use this self-certification SDB because once you're in the 8A program, you're automatically classified as a SDB. There are 4 formal programs where you actually have to submit an application to SBA and be approved into that program. The 8A program is a business development program designed to build your business. The Hub Zone program is designed to build communities. Women owned is just what it is, and service disabled veteran owned is just what it is. The 8A program is a program to my heart because this is the program that I know creates generational wealth. So I want you all to pay attention to what I'm getting ready to drop on you on how we play this game. This program is based on you being socially and economically disadvantaged. You're in it for 9 years. There's no other program that I know that's out here that's designed to help build your business by allowing you to receive what they call sole source contracts up to $4.5 million. Did the church hear that? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen.
No
All right.
competition. You're in it for 9 years. But I do not push
Amen.
businesses into this program until you're ready, till you play on the outside. Because what I saw on the inside is everybody told you to get these certifications and nobody knows how to leverage. No one understands the process. So out of my 40 businesses that I was servicing, only 5 or 6 was really getting contracts because no one was teaching them the process. My goal is you already have contracts waiting on you by the time you submit your application. And I have a young man that's going to be talking about that on Thursday. He followed the blueprint. He's telling me now my revenues from 4 years ago is $5 million a year. He slow walked it. It's a process. Understand what you're getting into. The Hub Zone program is based on communities where your business is located. As long as your business is in one of those designated areas, you can qualify in that program. And as long as 35% of your employees reside in a Hub Zone, you can qualify into that program. For the 8A program, previously, before this lawsuit last year, as long as you were a member of any one of these ethnic groups and a U.S. citizen, you automatically qualified. Since they changed the rules of the game, you now have to write a narrative on how you've been traumatized in America in order to qualify into this program. They want details, how you've been discriminated against. Also, for the 8A program, this is the game that we play. Married couples, y'all need to separate. If y'all in this partnership together on paper, y'all need to be 2 separate entities because we want to get 18 years at this program as long as it's available. So what we do is have one go through it and then the next one comes in and follows. Now you're getting 18 years in the program. As an example, I have one of my most successful students. What she did, she followed the blueprint. Everybody followed the blueprint, but they choose different pathways, but still reach the same goal. She started out in real estate. When I met her at SBA, everybody was trying to go after this contract they didn't know anything about. She changed the business model. She got into 8A. She's doing about 75 million in contracts right now. She leveraged that to get an Amazon contract in Charlotte. She's graduated from the program, but 3 years ago, her son was leaving the military as a service-disabled vet. I said, start subcontracting to him now. She's graduated. He came to the program. He's 3 years in now. He's ready to become 88 at 29. She has a 23-year-old who's watching them and said, what y'all doing? I want to be a part of this. She came through the program. Now she has her own business. This is how we change the game. Are y'all hearing me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Ma'am.
we've got to
That's good.
train our own. We've got to employ our own. We're the only ones that's going to really look out for us. So we need to start training our kids early. For me, as that 25-year-old up in Washington, D.C., all I saw was Black-owned businesses. I had role models that gave me the incentive to know that I was going to start my business. And I started it at 35. By 40, I was a millionaire, but I didn't know what I was doing. So my goal is to make sure you understand this game because it's not about you, it's about our future. All right? The economic component of the 8A program, your net worth cannot exceed $850,000 minus any equity in your home and in your business. So SBA is going to not count that against you. If you have any real estate property, that equity in those homes will be counted against you. hear me now. You can't have all these multiple businesses. You need to have one business. If you got multiple business, me as the SBA person, I'm the popo. Now I got to investigate all these entities that you got tied to your name and your social security. You can create divisions under one entity that will say that will have the same purpose as those multiple entities that you have under. Because SBA will look at all those entities as affiliates. And if you have revenue coming in those entities, SBA is going to look at the entity that you're applying for. And if you got revenue coming in other entities, you're going to be disqualified, because in order to qualify into the 8A, you have to be full-time under that entity. Everyone clear on that?
No,
Any
explain
questions?
that, please. Yes, ma'am. Explain that, please.
Huh?
Will you explain that, please? Are you saying you have to work there full time in that area full time? Or
No, you have to be under your business full-time.
okay, okay,
But if you got multiple entities that have revenues coming in, you're not, SBA is gonna look at your application because you're gonna be approved as a person and as that company,
right,
all right?
okay.
Real estate agents, you cannot have that broker's code on your tax returns. In your business returns, up in the corner, there's going to be an industry code. This day forward, you want to change that code to 541611. 541611. That's a management consulting. That's a catch-all code. Everyone hear that?
Loud and clear.
The HubZone program, again, there's no term limits. Again, you don't want to get into the 8A until you've won some contracts as a small business, you built relationships, you understand the game. For the HubZone program, it applies to, there's no term limits. You recertify every year, and you see in this program, you also get the opportunity to have sole source contracts. But the difference between this program and the 8A program, in order for an agency to award a contract as a sole source, they have to be assured that there are at least two businesses that are qualified. That's called the rule of two, in order for it to be a sole source contract. So again, you all want to work with each other and submit on those same opportunities. You're trying to force the agency to do a sole source award to maybe one or two of you. You know what I mean? Your goal is to cut your deals and we all win. Everybody get a piece of the pie. You also get a 10% price evaluation preference, meaning any contract that's awarded in this program and someone that's outside of that program will have 10% added onto their final cost, giving you, again, a preference. Your principal office must be in HubZone, and again, 35% of your employees live in a HubZone. This is the actual map that you can put in to determine whether or not you're located in a HubZone. A lot of these HubZone areas will change based on the Census Bureau. Those tracks will change because it's based on those specific areas. Once you put in the address, you're going to see whether or not you're qualified. And again, they're going to redesignate this in 2 years. But so it doesn't have to be in a hood. People think of HubZone as the hood. But when you look at SBA's office where I worked, this whole area was a hub zone. And SBA is a hub zone, even though you have Marriott's, Ritz-Carlton, all the high-end hotels. So why do you all think this is a hub zone?
Large unsheltered population.
Huh?
A very large unsheltered population. And
That is correct. That is correct. And you're gonna find hub zone areas near colleges because they're factoring in those numbers as well. So again, trying to be strategic. The women's program is broken down into two areas: economically disadvantaged and WOSB. Once you apply as an ED, you don't have to apply as WOSB. You automatically a WOSB. They are currently upgrading their database and they've stopped accepting applications until October 1st. I love what they're doing. What they're doing is streamlining the process because previously for the 8A program, for this program, for the Hub Zone program, for the VA program, you had to go and upload the same information in all of these databases. Now they are merging them all into one, and you only have to upload your information in it once. The economically disadvantaged portion of the women's program is mirroring the 8A program. They're going to look at those same things. You're going to have to provide income tax. You're going to have to provide profit and loss statements. That's not going to be required for the WOSB because it's not based on your economics. You have a couple of ways you can get certified. Again, you can go and self-certify and upload the information yourself, or you can go through a third party. There is a fee. If you're 8A, you can upload your documentation because, again, the programs are similar. And for me, because I like to be in control in certain state, I encourage, in part of the program, we encourage you to do it yourself. Instead of just turning over your stuff to somebody else and waiting. You need to understand what they're doing and what SBA is looking for, because in the end, you're still going to be the one that's going to be responsible. The requirements, everything must be 51% owned and controlled, full-time, doing normal working hours. But again, there's ways to get around that based on your industry, IT, janitorial, landscaping. There's ways to tell the story. There's no minimal amount of time that's been in business. And again, you can't lie to the government. When this program started, I was in Philadelphia, and when it became law, all the calls we were getting were from the husband. Again, they've already gotten in the game, understand the game, and how to position their wives to be in the front. But I'm the popo. I do drive-bys, so I want to make sure you are telling the truth. The veterans program, and again, thank you to my veterans. This program is now under SBA's website. I'm under their agency. VA used to approve their certifications, but now it is under SBA. And what I tell my veterans, I want you all to think about every military base that you've been to. That's where we're going to go back and help find contracts, because now you're able to tell a story in your performance, and those officers or those individuals on those military bases are more prone to give you than they would me that first contract. Does that make sense? Do I have veterans on the line?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, we're going to just follow the money.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
We're going to follow the money. And again, this is the website. They're going to, you have a checklist. All of it is just paperwork that you can go directly to their website and get a hold of. Now, this is where everyone gets confused. everybody tell everybody, you need all these certifications. Everybody gets certified up and they don't even have a clue what all these certifications are for and who they should market to. So this right here breaks down the certifications. For corporate, and you're looking to market to them, again, because they're getting federal dollars, and by law, they have to award a certain percentage of those contracts, just as the agencies do, to those 5 areas that I showed earlier. So the corporates is MBE, WBE for women, and VBE for veterans. Those are the certifications that will be required if you're marketing to corporations. The federal, these are all the certifications that we just covered. For state is DBEs. And me personally, and this is just Paul's personal experience, I really don't like the E's, especially on these state contracts, because they don't necessarily ever allow you to be your own boss. You have to subcontract to someone, and you don't know where their money is, and they could be playing with your money. So to me, start at the federal and come down, because again, that's still my tax dollars. And then you're gonna have locals based on where you are that will have their own certifications. But I will still say, once you understand how to compete federally, it's the same process in state and local. It is the same process. These are the websites. And again, most of these other certifications are free. I need to update this. This is now at SBA. Next week, this young man, he is going to be on the webinar. I encourage you all to participate, because part of our creed in our community, when you start winning, we can no longer afford not to share. It's each one teach one. And I'm just so proud of where he's grown his business in the last 3 years, following the blueprint. And again, I encourage you to go online and listen to him. But before I get into the program, I wanted to take you to some websites. And I realize we are close to 10:30, and I want to respect people's time. If you need to leave, you can leave through these websites so that you can understand of what's out here. I don't like using sam.gov for looking for opportunities, because you just get so much junk and it's not very user-friendly. I use this database. It's fbodaily.com or sam.daily.us, but it's still tied to to sam.gov. When I go there, I'll go and look at CBD archives. I'll click on that. Then I'll go to FBO Daily, and it's broken down by year. And then it's broken down by month. So every day I can go in, it is a commercial, every day I can go in and see what opportunities have been posted for the federal government. So here is 726 opportunities that been posted for this day. And it's telling you the industries. The industries are broken down by alphabet, and parts and equipment is by numbers. So based on my industry, I can go in and look and see what the government is offering. I always have people to go to this one because this is a catch-all. A lot of times the agencies don't know what what industry to put it in. And then I look at, what is out there? What's
Can
poetry?
you repeat that email? I'm sorry, a website again?
It's fbodaily.com. And someone can put it in a chat, that will help everyone. It's all about sharing. Here, there's poetry. Government buys everything. That's why I say you don't have to pigeonhole yourself. They got web-based postage services for the prison. The government buys everything outside real property legal services. Do I need to be an attorney? No, I'm going to find an attorney that have that experience. Right here, they looking for outreach services, small business set aside. All that is getting the marketing. It's event planning. And to me, that's when I look at outreach. This was a contract that I identified, and this is in California. What is an out-of-town setting transportation? All right. What they're looking for is to transport judges on their stays for 3 days, right? 2 days. I don't have to know anything about that. They need some vans and SUVs. Am I hitting y'all? Is it making sense to y'all what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
They get, huh? This is RFQ. That's the low hanging fruit. And they're going to give you the scope of what they're looking for. Hold on. So in here, it's an RFQ. It's fixed price. They want lowest price. And pick up and drop off. These are the places. So you just getting a schedule. They're telling you how many they need, how many should it accommodate. And maybe I'll look at one of these hotels, you know what I mean? That's where I'm just going to Google and find some vendors and get some prices and give them the schedule. Am I hitting anybody? I don't hear no amens in the church.
You hitting us?
Huh?
Indeed.
Amen. Amen.
Man.
They're telling you.
Amen.
And look, and probably some of these churches, they got buses and vans, right? They're giving you pictures. What more can you ask for? All right, so that's what's live right now. This database, USA Spending. This is the database that tracks all of your tax dollars. It captures everything that's been given. You see this 7.8 trillion has already been spent this year. You can see where the rest of the dollars are going. So I use this database as a strategy, how you're going to back into contract awards. You can see it's by state. You can see what state is being awarded federal contracts, but it also tracks grants. So let's get this clear. People always come to me about grants. Those are two separate businesses. For contracts, you have to be for profit. Grants are for a nonprofit. And to me, you have to understand how America operates. It's all about the taxes. Hear me. The whole argument is on the taxes. So for me, I had an opportunity in that first business to process grant applications as a contractor and get paid for that. But it gave me the inside knowledge of how that grant world worked. And it's the same dollars, but different in results. So for me, what I did in that first business was start a nonprofit, put it under my father's name. And I knew when I started making money, I had a tax shelter, but I also made that nonprofit broad enough so if I wanted to get grants, I could get grants. I'm getting both sides of the pots. One is serving the community, and one is serving me and my family and my future. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, it does.
Yes, ma'am.
It does.
Perfect sense.
In here,
Perfect sense.
you can go in here and you can start searching awards. I've already pulled up just so that you can get a general idea of one of my students and some of the opportunities that she won while she was still in class. And these are the low-hanging fruits, right? This one, the government needed a 3-day event, right? It is for 3 months, right? The price, she found a hotel, $48,000. She put her bid in at 104. She won. She won. And let's go down here a little further. And you can see it was just for meeting space and the competition detail. Won. She had nobody competing with her. This is real. That's why I say you don't have to pigeonhole yourself in one space. We've been trained, stay in your lane. No, that's not your job as the CEO. One was picking up porta potties and delivering it for the National Guards. So understand the language. This was for landscaping. You see, she's here in Georgia, right? This is the code, landscaping. She's not in Georgia, in Florida, place of performance. Let me see, so that you can see. She's here in Georgia, Department of Commerce. Place of performance is in Florida. She's project management. That's all that they're doing in this space. Just again, wanted you to get a general idea. This is also the space where you will look for those sole source contracts. That's how we put a strategy. This is the only database that have these contracts. This pool of money right here will never ever be advertised. It doesn't have to be. It just goes to a new 8A company. So we shape a whole strategy around this program so that you're ready and can take full advantage of the 8A program. Now, people always ask this question, well, how do I make money in this space? This is on a multi-year contract. I came in second. I lost by $200,000. This was, again, a contract to process their grant applications for 5 years. These are the people that I'm hiring. The government, as a small business, does not expect me to have all these people sitting around waiting on these contracts. We screen all of these individuals. They're contingency hires. That's the government language. Contingent upon award of this contract, these individuals will be hired for these positions. This is the hourly rate that I'm paying each of these individuals. Each year, they get a raise. And what I started
Miss Paula?
I think her internet went out.
Okay. We still have her spreadsheet showing.
We wait. Does anyone know whether or not this is going to be recorded, that we can look at it later, or have a list of contacts of everyone in the chat so that we can?
It's being recorded now.
It's on her Facebook Live as well, so you should be able to go back and watch it there.
Okay.
And also, she puts it on her website page under business too.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Make sure your email is in the chat because they'll send it to you directly as well.
Well, while we're also waiting, does anybody remember what she said was kind of like, I think she was saying like a universal NAICS code that we could use if we want to do multiple?
Yeah, I wrote it.
541611.
Right.
Thank you so much. 541611.
Yes, management consulting.
Sorry, what was it again? 54.
It's in the chat. 5416.
Thank you.
11.
So is it not 541?
Management consulting.
All right, appreciate it.
Indeed.
And just so we're aware, someone was saying 54611, and then I'm also seeing 541611. So I just want to clarify that.
Okay.
541611.
Perfect.
How many of us on the call are looking to collaborate?
I'm interested in collaborating.
Hopefully all of us. Yeah, it's on
Yeah, I feel like that all might have that in common.
Is there any way we can get a list of emails?
That's
for everyone interested?
We can definitely ask when she comes back because it's in the chat. So if everyone is in agreement, we can ask or we can go through and ask for her to also send the recording with the chat because she can send us the chat as well. And it'll have everyone's emails in there.
Can we list out in the chat what careers and disciplines we're in and what's our line of business?
For sure.
I can create a Google Doc that'll allow everybody to input that information, and then that way it's real time and already in a document. If you give me like one minute, I'll put it in.
Awesome. Thank you.
Like a whole cohort.
It pays to make that sacrifice on Saturday and get up. You meet some like-minded people and you learn. So I appreciate this.
Amen. Amen.
My computer just, the devil's a lie.
I think she's just, I think she's back
Amen.
now.
You're back.
I'm sorry about that. It just crashed on me. That's never, and will not come on. So where was I? Did anybody have any questions on what we covered?
Yes, Miss Paula, I have a question.
Yes,
you were
ma'am.
just reviewing your spreadsheet of how your employees get paid.
Okay. You want me to go back to that, I presume?
Yes.
All right. All right. Give me 1 second. See, you got to always have backup. So I have a backup computer. Thank goodness.
Well, it worked out while you were away. We all are collaborating.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Community forum.
I love it. That's what it's all about because we got to come together. We got to fight for our life going on here. All right.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going through the SBA and the, I guess, Boots to Business program. But it drops off at the point where you need to get certified. I mean, they give you the process of creating your business plan, your financials, and then, that's it. They don't say anything about where to apply for grants or
not grants, contracts.
I mean, not sorry, grants, but because I'm in logistics, they're going to give me a bond for the freight forwarding process.
They're going to give you what?
A bond. They get to certify my business is bonded for freight forwarding.
Mm-mm.
It's just a little confusing.
You don't have to necessarily get bonded. That's extra money. I'm trying to go the cheapest way and the most cost-effective way. Can y'all see my screen?
Okay.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
gotta go.
Okay.
This house I'm selling, it's in DC. I gotta go open the door so they can.
Okay, mute your phone. All right, here we go. I appreciate y'all staying on. And I got back on. All right, so here is each of the dollars, the positions. The government's going to pay me to hire these individuals, and I give them a raise each year. Government also understands that it costs for me to hire these individuals. So in my accounting system, that's why it has to be, you all have to understand what you're getting into. I have to set up and have what they call a cost pool, identifying how much of my fringe benefits is costing me for each of those employees. Over here is my overhead. The government's going to reimburse me for my, they're going to reimburse me for my rent. They're going to reimburse me for my salaries. Part of the partner salaries came out of here. And then the next is your pass through, money in, money out. Then here, another pool, that's your general administrative expense. Part of the salaries came out of, our salaries came out of the G&A category. And then this was my profit. After everything was paid, each year, my profit would have started out $375. Had I won this contract, my take-home pay would have been $1.2 million. Anybody have a question on that? Does that make sense to y'all?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Fields, you had your hands raised. What was the question?
Yes. So on the USA spending on that website, that is money that's all allocated for like AA contracts. Correct?
That's anytime the government issues a contract, regardless of what it is, small business, all of that. That's where they have to post it. It's the government's checkbook. Okay. Just think of it as that.
Gotcha.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. The next code that you gave for the 541611 for the management consultant, so that is the next code that one would use on their capability statement?
That would be your primary next code. You can have 20 or 30 next codes. That's what I encourage. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself. And for me, what I realized in that there are certain industries, and as I've studied these industries, you want to minimize your risk and the cash flow. In event planning, I had to come up with a whole lot of money up front before I got paid. So it was challenging managing the cash flow. When you look at construction, you got to come up with bonding. You got to come up with equipment up front. Transportation, the gas you have no control over. If that truck breaks down, then you're losing money. So for me, as I grew in that first business, I started just looking at labor-based contracts. I mean, the only thing I had to worry about was paying employees every 2 weeks. And on those types of contracts, especially on these 8A contracts, all you're doing is picking up with those employees that's been on that same contract for years. Miss Mollison, who again was one of the real estate agent, her very first contract was with CDC for $3.5 million. testing monkeys in the lab with HIV. She just picked up the same 9 people that was on that contract.
Miss Paula, my brain is exploding. This is a lot of grand information. And this takes me to my next question.
Yes, ma'am.
If you are a prime and the government is on a net 30 to pay you, can you then some kind of way contractually net 30 your subprime? So this way the money is not.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That was my question. Thank you.
What I did in my first business is all through this program, I created templates so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If nothing else, after spending $125,000 with attorney fees, I know the law. And I want folks to be more focused on their foundational piece. Understand what you're getting into. The money will come. Don't be so anxious to get these $1 million contracts and you don't know what you're doing. So often, even this year, I'm getting these companies and got in some mess because they didn't know, they didn't read their contract, didn't understand what they were liable for. No, ma'am. So our program is broken down into 3 modules. Business ready, government contract ready. Everybody asks me the same question. I'm already registered in SAM. I've already got my business EI. I've done all of that. I still make everyone start in the same place because you have to understand what SBA is going to be looking for. Y'all don't know? Only the people that work at SBA knows what their documents are going to look for. So, and restructuring your business. Most of you have started that business on your skill set. We want to expand that business model. So now everything in SAM is updated, not necessarily reflecting your skill set. So these are some of the tasks that you will be challenged with in the first module. Second module, it's about teaming. It's about collaboration, teaching you all how to pull deliverables together, because at this point, we're the government. And you have to act like we're the government, and y'all have to present to us at the end of this session, at the end of this module. This is real live. The third module is all geared around the All Small Mentor Protege program. That's another program that we're not taking advantage of. That program allows you to use somebody else's resources to put your business on steroids. Preferably, I would encourage you to have the mentor be approved in that program before you get into the 8A. Because now if you approved in that program, you know you're walking in the door with juice, because you get to use their resources, their relationships. They've already got that infrastructure built. That's what makes sense to me. The cost of this, I try to make it cost effective. And I'm just going to pray that God's going to give me some money where the government give us money and this is free. But for now, I'm in business. I have to pay people that are doing the training with me. I'm going to give a discount for today up until tomorrow, $200 off the price. The regular price is $24.97. If you bring in a second person, this is where y'all teaming together. In the chat, reach out to each other. If you're interested in teaming with somebody, put your information in the chat. Y'all come together. And now you're saving a $700. That's $229.7 for 2 people. That's till tomorrow. Monday, it's $100, and then we go back to regular price. The class starts September 24th, 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Everything is recorded. This is school. You have homework, you have midterms, you have lab sessions. You're actually going to get the benefit of having 3 people you're working with, a live force. I'm on the office hours every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. That's where I'm able to go into more depth what the trainers are going into, or you may have missed lab sessions. I have another young lady who's same position. She's had a business, but she's currently a federal employee who help you with completing your homework assignments. I've structured this program so regardless who's teaching this program, because people don't want me to teach, but I'm not trying to be self-employed no more. I'm trying to grow just like you guys. That's why I had to bring on additional people, but I'm bringing on people with as much experience, if not more than me. This young lady, she started back with me, and when I had that first business, she grew her business to close to 25 million. She understands the language. I have SBA retirees on my side. I have others that have managed businesses 200 million. I can't get you there. Our goal is to pull in the knowledge and you all get it from different people's perspectives. My way is my way. The way she ran that business and grew her business, it was a different approach. My SBA people, they've studied these businesses for 30 or 40 years. So she'll be teaching that class. I also have the self-paced. Those are the classes that are pre-recorded. You still have access to the office hours and the lab session. You still have to complete the homework assignments. You go at your pace. These are the deliverables that you'll be completing in the first module. This is part of the team deliverables in the second and third modules. And that's the QR code to the book.
Can you
Now,
go back to the last slide?
this was a sample proposal that that team had to pull together. This is as hands-on as you can get. All of these are templates, again, that I took from my first business. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just tell people the blueprint, follow the blueprint. Follow the blueprint. The blueprint works. The methodology works. Do I have any questions?
So Paula, is it 22 for two people or 32 for two people?
It's, hold on, it is 32. I had the wrong number. You caught that. You're right. It's 30. It's $1,000 for that second person. So if I take 200 off of it, it is 32.
Miss Paula, you talk about knowing what you're doing and not getting stuck in the matrix. Would you recommend the 8A program for a new business if you would not? Okay, right. All right. Thank you.
Absolutely not. I want you to win some contracts as a small business first.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. That $22.97 is a single person. That's $200 off of that. If you bring in the second person, that's $32.97. You got that?
Yes, thank you for clarification.
Okay. Tad, you had questions, and Lisa, you had questions, and Natasha had questions. Yes.
Hey, good morning. Excellent presentation. I got two questions. In respects to the recent Supreme Court rulings on just just agencies making rules or policy decisions, how does that affect these different various programs going down the road?
That depends on who's in office.
Got you.
That's why we have to fight for our life. What this administration has done is made it easier for our community.
Got you.
And
all right,
that's what I see going forward. If we can get 8 years in here, that's going to be a game changer for everybody. But y'all got to be prepared. They can only do so much on the inside. You can't go in there looking raggedy, talking about give me a government contract. I want somebody to go, no. We've got to be polished. We've got to understand the language. You've got to be able to dialogue intelligently with them.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Lisa, you had a question?
Quick question. Will we get a copy of the video?
Yes, and everybody put everything in the chat, your email address. We'll make sure you get a copy. It'll be later on today. Natasha, you had a question?
Yes, how often do you offer the training programs? Is it just once annually?
No. I have another one starting in October and November, and then we shut down for Christmas until January.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Can I get some 3 takeaways? What did y'all hear?
The blueprint is already there. Just follow the blueprint.
Collaboration.
Thank you.
Collaboration.
It's key.
Don't pigeonhole yourself. Expand your horizon.
Okay.
Make sure your infrastructure is legit.
Make sure you look.
Facts. Facts.
The message I got is slap fear in the face and focus on your future.
Get off the plantation. I freed myself September 15th.
Hey, Paula. Hey, good morning, Paula. I have a quick question. I met you a few months ago here in Atlanta. I'm a federal employee here in Atlanta, and I tried to certify with the service disabled vets, but when I tried to register, I tried to go in through the SBA process, and when I tried to get the certification from my government agency, they stated the only way I can get it the certification if I have if I'm applying for an SBA loan, and I wasn't applying for that. I was just applying for the
that's not
the
true.
service disabled certification. So I'm kind of confused on what step I need to take. So I really need to join your class.
No, sir. No, you can, but your challenge is if you're a federal employee, that's going to be more challenging. You can't. That's almost double dipping.
Okay.
But there's always ways around it. There's different ways. You have to plan your exit. It wasn't that I just decided in 2015 I was going to quit my good government job. No, I started planning my exit 2 years early.
Got it. Understood. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions?
I got one more question. I think you mentioned it a few minutes, couple seconds ago. You said you're going to have another cohort.
Yes, I'm going to. I'm testing another pilot because folks they get challenged with the 18 weeks. I did it earlier on a 9-week pilot. It's pretty intense. It's already intense, but it's set up summer school where you're meeting twice a week. Your challenge is you've got to keep up with the homework because the homework is set up as building blocks.
Yeah.
Those that went through it, they said it was a little bit too fast for them. You need that week time to process all the information that you're getting in that session. It's a lot of information.
Okay. So are you gonna have another 18-week one after this one?
October.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I think I may get in that one. I'm just strapped with time because I'm in the transition process of retiring out of the Army. So I'm trying to make sure I get everything on that level situated and squared away first before, I commit to too many things.
I got you. Anybody else?
I'm sorry, I asked a lot of questions. You dropped a major ball with that letter you said for the economically disadvantaged since the court case. What kind of things are they sensitive to hearing that you should put inside of your letter in order to get that certification to include inside of your letter?
I went to a bank and I was denied. I had called the bank first and they saw my credit score, everything was good. I go to the bank, all of a sudden now they're denying me. I go to another bank down the street, they approve me.
if I've been in construction, that's known to discriminate against women. But they are trying to switch up this game. And this game, that's why you have the largest wealth of Blacks up in PG County, because everybody was contractors. There's a lot of money out here, but we don't know the process. Everybody else is information based. Go do this, go do that. And you got all this information, don't know how to process it. That's what I realized was the missing piece.
Thank you. You're a master teacher. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any questions?
I have a question. You said something about some of the certification programs that we're able to self-certify. I don't remember what you said, which ones we're able to self-certify.
You're only able to self-certify as a small business and a SDB, small disadvantage. So when you're in SAM, they're going to ask you your ethnicity, and if it has African American on there, you're self-certified as a small disadvantaged business.
And you said one of those automatically certifies you for the women-owned something.
Nope.
No. Okay.
All right, then, you guys, y'all hung on here for 29.
Thank you.
For an hour and a half. I appreciate y'all. Huh? Can I ask one question quickly, please? Sorry. Yes.
So do you everything seems to be geared towards contracts only, so you don't do any grants at all?
Grants I can't make money off of. I'm always begging. I don't like grant world.
Are your classes virtual or in person?
They're all online. Everything's recorded every week. Okay. So if you miss a week, you got to go back. Then I encourage the students to go back and listen anyway, because I'm having to deprogram everybody. We've been trained to be laborers, and that's the biggest challenge that everyone has.
Indeed.
It's them understanding that I don't have to know anything about the contract to win. We always go back to our skill set. So in that first module, everybody start having anxiety attacks, panic, people, because I'm shifting how you've been trained.
Will the dates for your October cohort be added on your website?
Yes, as soon as we fill up the September class.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Paula. You're a jewel.
All right. Y'all have a good one, and we'll get the recording out. Everyone put their information in the chat?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Email address, because again, sometimes folks come in and I'm looking at this question. Can we get a copy of that spreadsheet? You come through the class, you can, Miss
Sir John. You gotta pay for that. So you gotta pay for that.
And
you gotta
hopefully
pay for the spreadsheet.
Yeah. Hopefully you all, I got a lot more goodies. That's just the little stuff in my class. Hopefully y'all reached out and saw who's looking for partnerships. In the chat, y'all reach out to each other. This is how we collaborate. That's the first step in collaborating. We have Lovey B. She's interested in collaborating. Okay, I think that's it for me, guys. Y'all have a good one. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.